her spine and took up residence in the pit of Mercedes' stomach. He exhaled and said,
"The Necrophagos were a Potemkin people."
Dread turned into confusion. "I beg your pardon?" Potemkin sounded vaguely familiar, but Mercedes couldn't place it, and what the hell it had to do with their recently defeated enemies she could not fathom. She raised a questioning eyebrow.
"Prince Gregory Alexandrovich Potemkin Tverchesky, a courtier in the court of Catherine the Great of Russia, famous for—"
Yes, now I remember. Didn't he build fake villages to fool his queen?"
"Exactly,"
Ernesto said. "And this is relevant how?" Mercedes asked. Chapman-Owiti opened up several hollow windows on his tap pad and arranged them in the air all around them.
"Since the mass suicide, or maybe die-off, hard to tell which it was, I've had teams crawling through every aspect of the Necrophagos worlds and culture. My doubts and concerns began with the language. Remember how I told you it more resembled Esperanto or some other created language than a real one?"
"Yes, so?"
"Well, it goes deeper than that. We've been studying their religions, all 2 of them."
"Again, I should care why?"
"No planetary culture has only 2 religions. Even us with a state religion still have Muslims, Buddhists, Jews, Hindus, Sikhs, Wiccans, and so forth. And within those religions there are branches and variants. Mormons, Presbyterians, Sunni, Shia. Even the Bems have a plethora of pagan creeds."
"I don't need a lesson in comparative religion, Ernesto," Mercedes said sharply. "Get to the point."
"Forgive me, Highness. The curse of suffering from OCD."
The smile briefly flickered on his lips, but it never reached his eyes.
"What I'm saying is that this is so unbelievable as to be impossible. Then there is the history and archaeology, or lack thereof. Cultures and societies are messy things. They develop in fits and starts, dark ages, followed by a renaissance. The Necrophagos history indicates a triumphant march from primitivism to space. It's simply not credible."
"So what are you saying? And don't talk to me about ancient Russia again," Mercedes warned.
"I think the Necrophagos were created and thrown against us, and whoever did it wasn't trying all that hard to hide their tracks."
He fell silent, and they measured gazes across the table. What neither of them wanted to say hung between them like the rumble of distant thunder. Mercedes shivered, gripped by that sense of something hiding in the shadows, unseen, but still threatening. "They're gone. They've been gone for decades," Mercedes said softly.
"Gone doesn't mean dead, ma'am. The Karaot were master geneticists."
Ernesto, by naming them, turned her inchoate fear into grim reality.
"They could have been using those missing years to grow these creatures and then launch a war against us."
Mercedes surged out of her chair and began to pace. "But why? For what possible purpose?" Ernesto gave a bedeviled headshake.
"Damned if I know. Remember what Westfield used to say in our xenobiology class? They're fucking aliens, who knows why they do anything. And the Karaot were the most alien of all the civilized species."
"Not very civilized if they did create a race specifically designed to kill humans," Mercedes countered.
"The Necrophagos killed a lot of Asanjo, Hajin, Sidon, and Flutes, too,"
Ernesto reminded her. "And if they wanted to destroy us, why not fight us themselves? They almost beat us 3 centuries ago."
"Maybe that defeat made them decide that using proxies was a better choice. Why not use others as cannon fodder? The Egyptians and Romans had their auxiliaries."
"Didn't work out all that well for the Romans," Mercedes said. Resting her hands on the table, Mercedes leaned in on him. "Ernesto, think about what you are suggesting. It would mean that the Karaot have the resources to engineer an entire race, make sure the Necrophagos had the resources to launch a massive space fleet,
and then throw the tool away once it had served its purpose,"
he concluded quietly. Which was? The import of what he was suggesting penetrated. What?
"I'm not sure the mass death of the Necrophagos was a choice on their part."
Ice seemed to edge down her spine as she absorbed the full horror of what he was saying. That would be monstrous.
"I know. And right now all of this is mere speculation based on a knowledge of history and a mass die-off I can't explain."
"What do you want me to do?" Mercedes asked.
"Right now, nothing. We don't want to go public or even talk to Parliament about my inchoate fears. At least not yet. And you've got to